and go check out us at Wrestling with E on X and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, and links to those interviews. When that information becomes available to us, it will become available to you. All right. No more time to put ourselves over. We have a very big episode coming up. It's the big beautiful episode with a lot of big shit going on. So no, without any further ado, we are wrestling with the news, and it was a great day for wrestling. Maybe not if you were a Jazmyn Nyx fan, though, as she left the company, or NXT, earlier this week. If you watched NXT, they wrote her off the show, seemingly. And it does seem like that country bumpkin girl might be taking her place in Fatal Attraction. I mean, obviously, Jazmyn was a big part. Well, I don't want to say a big part, but she was a part of Fatal Attraction. She was the little buddy of the group. Unfortunately, I don't think that she was there long enough to really, make an impact. But, I mean, she did split from the company amicably, so, I mean, that's good. Not her fault, not their fault. Contract was up, but decided not to renew. If you're going to, leave the company, I feel like that's the best way to do it. No, Kaliko?
I mean, that's the best way to do it. I mean, honestly, she just felt the contract that they gave her wasn't as best financially. So, I mean, she took her way out. So, I mean, you got to respect it. And, I mean, she was able to speak it on her own terms. So, that's the other part, too. So, that's what really matters, is that she told her side of it, of what happened. And, I mean, the worst you can do, the best you can do is, honestly, the best you can do is respect it.
Oh, yeah. Even she mentioned, she was maybe a little bit more injury prone than she could have been, which caused her to miss out on a couple of opportunities. She wasn't maybe developing as fast as some of the other girls in NXT. And as you know, NXT, especially on the women's side of things, it's a very competitive space.
Stacked bakery,
Right.
and with her, I mean, being a former soccer player, her knees were everything. So she's coming off. She was already coming off a knee. So and soccer players getting used to that kind of bumping. So it's a little bit of her body betraying her, but she did the best she could with it. She's grateful for the experience, and hey, she's looking forward to more opportunities. So it couldn't be more amicable than this.
Oh yeah. I'm sure whatever she does next will only be fans of her from this point on. Wink, wink. Keeping up on the women's side of things. AEW unveiled new women's tag team titles. Tony Khan, essentially the Oprah of pro wrestling at this point. You get a title, and you get a title, and you get a title. I didn't really think that we needed women's tag team titles in AEW. I could make an argument that we only need one title in AEW, women's title in AEW. But what are your thoughts on AEW's women's tag team titles making their debut in the coming weeks?
Well, it depends on what they do. I mean, they got a lot of women. So And they put them in six-man tags anyway, so what's the difference between putting them in a tag match and having a tournament? To be quite honest. I mean, uh, as long as Harley Cameron's involved, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I could I could agree with that. I mean, she's doing good stuff with AEW right now, so. Um, Going back to some WWE news, it was announced that the Marigold promotion in Japan will have an appearance by Io Sky. She will be taking on Mayu Iwatani at the Grand Destiny event. Um, for anybody that doesn't know, they used to be tag team partners. Obviously, Io was a big name in Japan. I find it interesting WWE now teaming with Marigold. Obviously they have a somewhat of a partnership with Noah as well. Um, I don't know if this means that Mayu is actually coming to WWE. I highly doubt that. Um, but it would be a good source to, send some girls down there, well, up there, or, wherever they are geographically, to maybe get some, Japanese experience. Lola going down to, AAA has honestly done her wonders, as she goes into, her title match against JC later today. Um, so, I mean, if Marigold becomes, one of those promotions for WWE to send talent, I think that's a good thing. No?
I mean, yeah, but they've been doing that since like Nakamura going there, so it's not surprising. It's just building that international goodwill to do business. And who better to do it than WWE because they got A, the audience, and B, the star power to make it happen.
Well,
It's like, hey, we poached your talent. Come on, it's okay. We can bring them home.
yeah. Well, I mean, they have the talent, but they didn't necessarily bring the fire. Um, we'll be talking all things Wrestlepalooza and how we feel about the show a little bit later. Uh, but ESPN rated the show. Obviously, Wrestlepalooza is the first show on the ESPN app. Very big moment for WWE and ESPN at that moment. They graded it a C out of, I'm assuming, a possible A plus. That doesn't look good for WWE. That their new, home for their PLEs is grading their first PLE on your, platform a C. Depending on how you feel about that, specific PLE, you would think that, ESPN would have been a little bit more lenient. But, that's just my opinion. What say you, Kaligo?
I mean, you got to look at the circumstances with it though as well, because it did feel rushed. Because keep in mind, they were supposed to go to ESPN at the beginning of the year, and ESPN was like, "No, fuck it, we want you here now." So that kind of changes the dynamic a lot. So it went from having a 5 month delay to having a 1 month delay, like or a 5 month timeline to a 1 month timeline. So they're having to push everything together and trying to do their best to push all the chips there. So I mean, I get it because most people will probably see this show as a glorified Saturday night main event. I look at it as at the totality because WWE didn't get a chance to invest in the invest in storylines to make it a worthwhile watch, if that makes sense.
Um,
Because Triple H is a storyline dude. So if he's gonna do something like that, he's gonna want to make the story make sense. And going from ESPN, oh yeah, we were gonna go in January, but oh no, we want you right now. It kind of shifts how they shift storyline. Because to me, the Drew Cody angle should be at least a 2-3 month storyline.
I mean, it still can be. I mean, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But I mean, let's say like you said, ESPN gave them a 5 month prep time to a 1 month prep time, and then they're shitting on them for what they delivered to them, only given a month time frame to actually deliver it. They literally had to make a PLE, a new PLE, just to attract new people and book a venue just to get this done for ESPN. And it doesn't seem like they're too grateful for it. And I do kind of take it back to ESPN never really looked at WWE as, a legitimate sport. ESPN has always looked down on WWE. So, they only went to WWE now because they know that it could attract a lot of people to this, app that I don't think a lot of people were going to be attracted to in the first place. There's a lot of other places you can get the media that you're looking for, other than ESPN at this point. So, I mean, that's my opinion on it, but what's your opinion on that?
I mean, I wouldn't go too far to say that ESPN doesn't respect WWE. I would just think that most people, the people that are covering wrestling, is giving it what they believe is an honest assessment, which is fine, and they have every right to, because that comes with the territory of covering WWE. You got to cover it whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I knew it was kind of a dip because because honestly, there was no scheduled pay-per-view for September.
Right.
So it was kind of, you know what I mean? So it was kind of off. So the whole thing felt kind of just strung together. And which, ESPN has their right to do it. But I mean, I'm trying to think how much has that got to do with the show being bad or the fact that Stephanie was like trying to hook everybody up with the VPN. So, I mean, so it could go either way. But, I mean, and considering that they started off with the heaviest hitter matches. I mean, and we'll get to that when we get there, but I just don't think that. I mean, the deal is just meant the fact that ESPN is entertainment. The E in ESPN is entertainment. Entertainment, sports, news. So, as much as people, I think, and to me, I think ESPN, there are certain people in ESPN that respected wrestling. There was a guy who used to write articles. His name was the Masked Man. I used to read his articles on 30 for 30 every day about wrestling because he was like a wrestling historian. You know what I mean? I think it was the Masked Wrestler. The Masked Wrestler. He always wrote about the history of wrestling, and he was a big wrestling enthusiast. So they have had articles about it. I just think now that WWE being so blended into pop culture, at this point, that's where they just were able to pounce on it. Because now there's articles going that WWE or ESPN has been trying to get WWE for the longest time. So, I mean, it's just a matter of who do you believe.
Um, Again, I don't necessarily. I mean, obviously they would view it as something profitable for them, but you could view something as profitable and still not necessarily, like it. Like I said, ESPN kind of low key has always looked down on WWE because, it's sports entertainment. It's a work. Nothing new that we don't already know. And, they kind of held that against them. I feel like the only reason that they did the deal with WWE, obviously in part to, this new app, get eyeballs on it, is because, obviously TKO is a big corporation at this point, and ESPN has worked with, you know, what's it called? UFC. So it would be a deal that would make sense to them because obviously they've had dealings with Ari Emanuel and UFC. So I mean that's profitable for them. So why wouldn't anything else be from their company be profitable? But they could still not like it, but still produce it.
I don't know because ESPN's biggest profit is college football. So I don't, you know what I mean? I don't
I mean,
see.
I can't imagine UFC didn't they didn't profit from having UFC fights.
Oh no, they didn't. They didn't. They didn't. That's why UFC went to Paramount.
Okay.
No, no, seriously, they did not. Because the UFC, because what? Okay, so what the UFC initially thought that they were getting, or what ESPN thought they were getting, were the bigger stars, the Conor McGregor's, the John Jones, and they didn't get that at all. So it wasn't, honestly, it kind of was disappointing. And not to mention that ESPN is more tolerant, and then the UFC has been leaning left or leaning right for the longest. They kind of it's a right wing audience. It didn't help them as much. But that's a whole different day. Um, but yeah, but for the as far as the bottom line, yeah, no, ESPN was not really making that much money off UFC. Because if that was the case, UFC at this point, the onus was on UFC to be more popular than WWE. And you can make the argument that UFC is literally on the decline and WWE is more popular than the UFC.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you have a new product on your on your streaming service, I would think you would want to put it over rather than give it a C. Just to uh, you know have good faith with that company. But I digress. Um, Speaking of not good faith, um, a friend of the show is in the news this week as well. Masha Slamovich has been accused of domestic violence against her ex, Akira. Akira was a wrestler that worked for MLW. Um, I'm pretty sure a third party released a fair amount of text messages between the two, um, pictures of Akira after being struck by Masha. Um, a lot of things that doesn't necessarily paint Masha in the best of light. Um, Masha has made statement regarding it, stating, it was a toxic relationship. She could have handled things better, but he could have handled things better as well. She is getting the help that she needs, and she hopes that he gets the help that he needs. Um, I do hope that's the case, and I do, think it's a good thing that, Masha did, you know, if she did do something wrong in that, situation and relationship, that she did come forward and, admit it. Um, so, I do hope that she is in a better place than she was when, she was in that relationship. When it comes to Akira, um, I do hope that he gets the help that he needs, that he so very clearly needs. He's spoken up about mental health issues that he's had. Um, but I will say this about Akira. It takes two to tango. And I've spoken to Masha. Never had a problem with Masha. Good human being, from my standpoint. And I have also um, spoken to Charlie Kroll, who was actually Akira's ex before Masha. And, he wasn't necessarily the good guy in that relationship either. So, um, there was dispute. I don't think anything ever got physical between the two of them. But what I'm trying to say is Akira has had a history of not being in very good relationships in the past. And, having had a few interactions with him myself, I could honestly say none of them were positive. Um, instead of a lot of people just kind of jumping on Masha and just, saying that she's a terrible person, shit on her, fuck her, you know, all of that, um, keep in mind that Akira has been the bad guy in a couple of relationships as well. It takes two to tango, and it's not all one person's fault. So that's what I'll say about it. If you would like to make comments, you absolutely can, Kaliko.
I mean, all you can say is that you hope that they both get the help that they both feel that they deserve.
Right.
That's it. And wish the best for both.
No, absolutely, I agree with that. And like I said, Masha's friend of the show. Always been happy about her successes in TNA. And not gonna say much more about the topic. Even she said, I'll make this one statement and I'm done. So, hope Masha's good. Hope Kira gets the help he needs, and hopefully this doesn't damage Masha's reputation that badly, so she could go back to work with TNA and maybe get another shot at that TNA women's the Knockouts title. So yeah, I hope this didn't really hurt her image. All right. Somebody whose image isn't hurt, but their body definitely is Piper Niven. Um, if you haven't noticed, she hasn't been on AEW, WWE TV as of recently. Chelsea Green has been teaming with Kaylee Ray, I should say. Um, and the injury to Piper Niven has been disclosed as something serious and possibly even career-ending. Um, I mean, I hope that's not the case. So, what are your thoughts on Piper Niven out of the Secret Harvest? Oop, oop. Kalika, I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
Just hope that. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oop. Oh, as soon as we got him, we lost him again. Can
I
you hear
know I
me,
should be
Kalika?
here. Hello?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, there we go. It's beachside. But anywho, oh, where was I?
I mean, I didn't get anything of what you started to say about Piper, so I mean, from the beginning, I suppose.
All right, let me know when you're going to hit the record.
No, we're recording right now.
Oh, hey, even. Oh, there it is. But, I mean, honestly, all you can do is just hope that it's a temporary and not a. She's not having to choose between her career and her life,
Right.
So, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Just pray it's not a. It's a recoverable injury because, I mean, and maybe, she can come back sooner rather than later.
You know, medical issues, not necessarily injuries, have kind of held her back in the past. So I do wonder if this is, an actual, injury, quote unquote, or, a medical issue, which are two separate things. Um, if it is, an actual, legitimate injury, um, I do feel a little bit more optimistic about that because, things that we considered, career ending like a decade ago, aren't career ending anymore. You can come back from it. Medicine has, improved drastically. Um, but, again, there's not a lot of information on this. It is all undisclosed. So, again, I do hope that it is something that can be, she can come back from, and hopefully we'll get her back in the Secret Harvest again with Chelsea and Alba Fire. I called her Kaylee Ray early on.
Yeah, I was about to say that's Albert Fry. Oh, Albert Fire.
Yeah,
Or Fry. Or Fry.
I mean, I know her as Kaylee Ray, so, and I still think I still call her that. So, um, but to the other Kaylee Ray, she's also injured. Had to relinquish the WWE ID title. But it was a injury of another nature. She got pregnant. Congratulations to Kylie Ray on the pregnancy. If there's any way to any reason to relinquish a belt, that would be the reason, the best reason. Um, so yeah, congratulations to her, and we'll see what happens when she comes back. Kalika?
I mean, we got to do like a study on WWE titles and pregnancy because that is three. I
I
mean,
mean,
Becky Lynch, Naomi, Kylie Ray. I,
and I
I
mean,
mean, not even including Lacey Evans. Like WWE and pregnancy, we're gonna have to do something with that. That's gonna have to be a.
too, in the span of 3 months as well. Too much,
I know they are. They're fucking. I mean, sorry about that.
too much celebrating, too much celebrating.
Oh no, that's the right amount. It just got caught. Um,
Well, that will conclude our coverage of the news. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.